to introduce, it's my pleasure to introduce Rick Carnegie. Rick is a past district governor of this district. He was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana, where he later attended Ball State University and has a degree in accounting. Throughout his career, he's worked in a variety of industries, so he's got a varied background, but always in accounting. And currently, he provides accounting services to nonprofits and churches. Rick has been, in addition to being involved in Rotary, Rick has been on community boards such as the Northwest Cary YMCA, an organization called Read and Feed, Steamed Coffee, and the Town of Cary Parks and Rec Commission. He also served as chair of the Town of Cary Comprehensive Growth Planning Committee. So he's been very active civically. He joined Rotary in 1989 as a charter member of the Cary Page Rotary Club and was president of the club in 1998-99. He later served as district secretary and served 2 terms as district treasurer. And he was district governor in 2012 and 13. And that's a landmark year because that actually was the start of what we're going to talk about today. I'll come back to that in a second. He's a graduate of the Rotary Leadership Institute, and he was the district delegate to the 2019 and 2022 Rotary Council on Legislation, which is an event that happens every 3 years at Rotary International. He and his wife, Gail, married in 1979, and they have 1 daughter and 4 grandchildren. And he and Gail are Rotary Foundation major donors. That means they have strongly supported the foundation. They're benefactors, and they're members of the Paul Harris Society. In 2017, Rick was presented with the Rotary International Service Above Self Award, which is Rotary's highest honor. So he was recognized for a long service in Rotary. Okay, going back to 2012-13, during his year as district governor, Rick started what we're talking about today, the Dominican Republic project, which has grown to a district-wide 10-year-long project to provide sanitation and now housing to rural areas in the Dominican Republic. And today he's going to talk about the program and its long-term success. And I want you to put on your rose-colored glasses, grab a glass of wine, although it's only 9 o'clock in the morning, and lean back and dream, because what Rick is going to talk about is what our efforts in the Caribbean could become 10 years from now. That's my dream. And if you can't dream it, you can't achieve it. So, Rick, over to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be with you guys today. Sorry for the thunder and the rain in the background, but we need the rain, so that's good. Maria, I guess, are you doing the slides?
Rick, you should be able to share your screen.
Hold on just a minute. Let me see here. Let me get it up. Can you see that?
That's good.
Okay, let me get my screen going here. Hold on. Looking for my slide presentations thing here. Hold on. All right.
Are you on a PC or a Mac, Rick?
I'm on a PC.
So just hit the Shift F5.
Shift FI?
F5, number 5.
F5.
Shift F5.
Okay, hold on a second. I usually have a slideshow up here.
But just by clicking your mouse, it should go through it.
Yeah. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it, but it's not in presentation mode.
All right, sorry.
Just hit F5. Do you see the function keys? Hit F5.
Yeah, mine don't have the function keys across the top like yours.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I see a button on your screen, Rick, at the very top left. It says from the beginning underneath your file.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Keep going left. There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Thank you. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is our project that we've been doing in the Dominican Republic. And where we go is in Santiago, Dominican Republic. And And our project has been since the beginning, has been a joint project with the Santiago Monumental Rotary Club in Santiago. So, as David mentioned, the first year of the project was in 2013. And it just kind of got started by, I happened to run into the district governor for the Dominican Republic at a Rotary National Convention in New Orleans a couple of years before that, and got to talking to her, and I expressed interest in trying to do some projects somewhere, and she gave me her card, and we continued talking. And she was married to an American who had been doing projects in Haiti, water projects, and through our discussions, we kind of put this together and started by building latrines. So for the first 7 years of the project, we built latrines. And over that time period, we built over 700 pit latrines in villages around Santiago. We also conducted health fairs. We bought musical instruments. We built a playground, and we actually built 2 playgrounds, and we provided a food court for food vendors. We did water filtration projects. We bought some school equipment and science, and we did some science projects for them. In 2020, we switched from building latrines to building houses, as we were able then to get district grants to fund to build houses. So we've now built 12 houses since 2020. Even during the pandemic years of 2020 and 2021, we weren't able to go to the Dominican, but we sent the funds, and the local Rotarians built the houses. Over the time period, we have received over $200,000 in district grant support from our district and from clubs in our district. And we also collect money from clubs and individuals to raise money for what we call the community fund. And we've raised over $150,000 for the community fund. Over the time period, over 109 different people have gone on the trips. They're not all Rotarians. Some have been children, grandchildren, friends of Rotarians, but totally 109 different people have gone, and from 20 different Rotary clubs. So when we first built latrines, this kind of shows you some of the work that we did. We would arrive on a Saturday, and we would build the sides and put everything together, and then we would take them out in the field to install them. And before we would get there, you see the picture on the left there, the local Rotarians and the homeowners would dig the pit for the latrine and pour the foundation base and the concrete toilet. And then when we got there, we would put up the sides and the roof and finish off the latrine. These are just some more pictures with some family members who received the latrines. So, as I said, we switched to building houses. We're very fortunate in that one of the local Rotarians in the Santiago Club owns a construction company that he builds high-rise apartment buildings. So he was able to provide us a lot of support in the construction of the houses. So this is kind of the design of the houses that we build. And you can see that for 2023, we got $12,000 from 6 Rotary clubs, and we got a $9,500 grant from the district. So we had a total of $21,500 to build 3 houses. And we had 24 people go on a trip from 8 different Rotary clubs. This is just some pictures of some conditions of where people are living. On the left, there were 2 children sleeping on those chairs, and that's where that was their bed. Just some other of the conditions of some of the housing. So before we arrive, the local Rotarians, they do a process. They have people apply to receive the houses, and the Monumental Club goes through a process of interviewing those people. the main thing was we want to make sure of is that they can prove that they own the land, that they have title to the land. We don't want to build a house on a piece of property that we can't confirm the ownership, because we don't want somebody else coming in later and claiming that that's their house. And this is probably the biggest stumbling block. We have lots of people that want the houses, but the biggest stumbling block is them providing documentation that they have title to the land. So they clear the lots, get the foundation going before we arrive. And this is what the house looks like when we arrive. They've gone ahead and started the stud walls, and they put the roof on. They go ahead and put the roof on because it's not the safest thing to do. Those are tin roofs, and they'll cut you in a heartbeat, and they're very slick. So they go ahead, the local people and the Rotarians there go ahead and get it to this point. So the typical house has a sitting room, a small dining room with kitchen, and 3 bedrooms. And we now are attaching a bathroom to the house. So this kind of gives you an idea of what the interior looks like before we start construction. So we start and we put siding on the house. These are some of our Rotarians here doing work. And then we put interior walls. The walls interior don't go all the way to the ceiling. They leave gaps at the top to have a good airflow through the house. And you see the windows. There's no glass in the windows. It's a louver type wooden window that they can close or open. Some pictures. This is kind of what the houses are looking at as construction is going along. So we take our people and we divide up in teams, and then with the helps of the homeowners come and help, and then other people in the community. Actually, Peter, I told you about the guy in the blue shirt with his black there, with his back to you and the hammer. That's Owen Robinson that I was telling you about. That's from Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
That now lives in Florida.
Okay.
So you can see that it's progressing on. And the picture on the right, you see the house, the blue house there on the left. It's finished. That was a house that was built in 2022. That was completed. That we completed in 2022. So where we can, we're building them, close together if we can get the land right. Picture on the left is a finished house. This was one we finished this year. The blue color is kind of the Rotary blue that we paint them. And you see the back there is the bathroom with the water tank up on the roof of the house. And the picture on the right is the homeowner with her mother. They were previously living in a shack down by the river that would flood every time that the rains came. So she's now up on high dry land. That's a side view of the house, finished. Have a little front porch on them. So we dedicated every house. You can see there in the peak of the front of the house, we put the rotary wheel on the front of each house, so that people know that it was built by Rotarians. That's another house. I think that house is actually from 2022 that we finished. Another one with the family. I mentioned about the community fund. We raised money also to help buy furnishings for the house. Most of these folks don't have much furniture at all. And it's really kind of crazy to give them a house and they have nothing to put in it. So we also buy a stove, a small refrigerator, and some tables and chairs and beds. We buy, a lot of us take sheets and pillowcases down with us. And also we purchase some items there to help furnish the houses. There's some pictures of some of the chairs and the dining room table that we bought. You can see there on the right and the back is the kitchen area with a kind of a bar across the front of it. Some of the bedrooms. Bathroom on the left there, and the stove that we purchased. The houses do have electricity to them. The other thing that we've done in DR is that we've partnered with a school there and another village called Otrabanda right outside of Santiago. We've worked with them for a number of years. It's also supported by the local Rotary Club. The xylophone down there on the bottom right, you'll see if you look down very closely at the bottom of it, there's a rotary wheel. We bought these musical instruments to put out in the playground for the kids. And you'll see on the left there's the orchestra at the school using some of the musical instruments that we purchased for them. The top right is there's also a clinic at the school for the neighborhood. And we were talking to 4 students there from Virginia Commonwealth University. We're doing a 5-week rotation at that clinic working. So we were talking to them about what they were doing. Why do we go? Well, we go to we have fun. Our relationship with the Rotary Club in Santiago is outstanding. We stay in their homes. When we go, if we have too many people, some of us stay in a hotel, but the majority of people stay in the homes of Rotary party. You see there on the left with a paella they made this year. A lot of times when we go in February, it's carnival. So there's a lot of music and festivities going on. We always have a going away party. This year we were there on Valentine's and our going away party. So they always have some kind of a theme they love. They love loud music and dancing and cervezas, and we have a really, really great time while we're there. Actually, the Rotarians from the Dominican have been up to North Carolina twice and stayed with us in our homes. We showed them around our area. This is a group picture of this year's trip. We went to on Sunday. We get there on Saturday. On Sunday, we always do some kind of a trip. This year, we went to a coffee plantation, and then we went up to a large waterfall to swim. And this is the North Carolina Rotarians and a lot of the Dominican Rotarians in that picture. Friendships are important, not only with the Dominicans there, but we meet other people in our district that we probably wouldn't have a chance to meet. So we get to know a lot of our fellow Rotarians this way. The picture on the lower right is some of the kids and grandkids that have gone on the trip over the years. We go to make a change. This is the food court that we built with a global grant. So this now has different food trucks, small food trucks in it. We actually ate there this year at the food court. This was done under an economic grant, a global grant. This is one of the playgrounds that we constructed. The lower right is when we dedicated the playground and all the kids that showed up. We bought dolls, balloons, toys, all kinds of stuff to hand out to kids. But there probably were over 200 kids that showed up for the dedication of the playground. So how can you guys help? One is come with us. We're going in 2024, we're going from March the 2nd to March the 9th. The trip, typically you pay for your airline ticket. Then we've been charging $450 for the week. That includes the vast majority of your meals, your in-country transportation, your lodging, either at a home of a Rotarian or at a hotel. You won't spend very much other money unless you just want to buy a lot of cervezas on your own or some souvenirs. But most of your meals are covered in the $450. That's your, 3 meals a day too. That's we usually have lunch somewhere on site. The other thing that you guys can help with is contributing to the community fund. We'll be raising money again this year to help buy stuff for the houses. So that's how you can help us. Our goal for the community fund is $12,000. And as I said, some of the past stuff we've done with that is we bought furniture and supplies for the houses. We bought water filtration systems, put on the health fairs, and bought STEM and robotic supplies for the school. And then we also built that playground. So I think that's it. So let me get rid of my screen there. So any questions you guys have?
Would you stop your share, please, Rick? There you
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Do you have any idea how many people you have impacted over this decade?
We estimate on the latrines that the typical housing number of people in the housing is either 4 to 6 people live in the house per latrine. So if you think on the short side of 4 times 700 latrines, that's about 2,800 people that we built latrines for. And then of course with the houses now, with 12 houses, you're probably talking another 60 some people that are living in those houses.
Mhm.
Other questions?
Your community fund, Rick, how do you promote that? Or where do you promote it? How do you promote it?
A lot of times we have a network, but we're going to put out more of a district-wide kind of blast this year to people. Nathan Thomas, our past district governors, really helped us a lot with that this past year. So the 2024 grant, we actually have 11 Rotary clubs in our district on that grant, and so we're actually going to have $28,000 this year to help build the houses. And I think I mentioned to Peter earlier that Owen Robinson down in Florida has also got a district grant from his district to build one house. So in 2024, we actually built a total of 4 houses altogether. But David, a lot of it is probably more than half of the community fund comes from district clubs, and the other part comes from individuals in the district.
Mhm. Okay, Rick, thanks for this presentation. Every time I see presentations like this, showing, the projects and the impact that they have on the communities, I really get more and more excited, right? Yeah, this question is more from an operational side of it. So you've been doing this for quite a while. If I were to ask you, what has been the biggest challenge you've had from any perspective at all in terms of putting the projects together or the actual implementation of the project, local partnership, anything at all?
Mm-hmm. Probably originally the biggest challenge is making sure that you're partnered with a club that's going to do what they say they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And that's where the real blessing in this has been, in that the Santiago Monumental Club has consistently delivered, what they were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And our challenge now ongoing is keeping it going. Mm-hmm. One of the keys is this Rotarian down there that is in the construction business. Mm-hmm. Because he can order the supplies, he orders the wood, he can get all that coordinated and help provide some of the labor to get the houses started. That's our biggest challenge now. And with the housing, the biggest challenge is knowing that people have title to that land. Right. Is the key factor. Our dream, and what we really, my dream is that we buy land down there and we have a Rotary neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Where we can just build houses and we don't have to worry about that title of the land. That's something we've talked about a lot, and we'll be talking about it again next year, because that's one of my dreams, is to be able to have that. But my biggest advice to y'all is, if you're going to do projects in the Caribbean, really vet out the local Rotary Club. Really make sure, because we send them $30,000 every year. We send them more than that, because we send the community fund money down there. So we're sending $40,000 more down, and you got to make sure you got a club that is going to do what they're supposed to do.
Okay, great. Yeah, because that was a thought that came to my mind as well, as a question. In terms of getting the funds to the DR, and how the funds are actually managed, administered, because as you said, that is really, critical. Another quick question would be, do you have any local partners, local sponsorships, corporations, companies that participate?
We don't really have any corporations locally that help. We do have, we have a lot of Rotarians that can't go on a trip but help support it. We have some that have gone and now can't go back, and they still support it. So that's, where we're pretty fortunate. And, every year we have to apply for a new district grant. We have to hope that we get approved. I think we're at a point now, and Marie's past district governor, so she probably can appreciate this. We've been doing it so long, I don't know that the local grants committee is willing to be the first one to turn it down. So we feel pretty good about it every year. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We don't have any corporations, no.
Okay, thank you.
So another money related question, Rick, do you wire the funds down to the Rotary Club, or how do you actually transfer the money?
Yeah, we wire the money to the Santiago Monumental account. Yeah.
By the way, for Rotarians that aren't familiar with the grant process, every #1 grant for every club in the district is pretty much guaranteed to be funded. So if the sponsor club, whatever it is for this project, and it varies year to year, if that's their #1 priority, it should be funded, assuming that there's enough money in the pot to fund it.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I'm actually supposedly going to a football game here. It's pouring down rain, so I don't know how much that's going to work, but I appreciate you let me talk about the project. And if it's something you think you might be interested in, you want to join us, let Marie and David know, and they can get in contact with me. And I'd love for one of you to join us on it. And also, if you can chip any kind of funds in to help with the community fund, it'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
So Rick, I want to thank you very much. The presentation, at least I found it very informative. We got into a little bit of how do you do things, and part of the success clearly is the long-term relationship with a good Rotary Club. And that kind of thinking will be very helpful for us as we go ahead. So I want to thank you very much. And I don't know if Marie can share her screen, but we